Hey, what's up, everyone? So, today we're talking plants, but don't worry, not the kind that need, like, a full time gardener to keep alive. I'm talking about the ones that pretty much survive on good vibes and a little water. Trust me, if you're just getting started, these plants won't require any late night studying or tons of effort. So, stick around and let's get into 15 indoor plants that'll basically do all the hard work for you. Alright, first up, the Monstera, or as some people call it, the Swiss cheese plant. Look at those leaves, big, bold, and just a little dramatic. This plant's perfect if you want to add some jungle vibes without too much hassle, and honestly, it's one of the easiest plants I've ever taken care of. Monstera's pretty chill about watering. Just keep the soil slightly damp. Think once a week or so. And don't stress about sunlight. It'll thrive with bright, indirect light, but it won't throw a fit if it's a bit shady. This guy will even grow those iconic holes as it matures, which looks super cool. So, if you want an easy, impressive plant to kick off your collection, a Monstera is a solid choice. Next up, the spider plant. This is one of those plants that practically takes care of itself. I mean, it even comes with its own little baby plants that sprout off the ends. No extra work required. Just give it a spot with bright, indirect light, like a windowsill, and it'll stay happy. See these little guys? They're called spiderettes, and they're basically new plants just waiting to happen. You can snip one off, pop it in some water, and boom, you've got a whole new spider plant. Water it about once a week, and it'll keep on thriving. Super easy, and it looks pretty cool hanging out here in the kitchen, right? Alright, let's talk about Pothos, also called devil's ivy. This plant is basically the definition of beginner-friendly. Look at those vines. They grow fast, don't need much light, and they're super forgiving if you forget to water them. Plus, they look awesome draped over a shelf like this. Pothos is super low maintenance. Just check the soil every now and then. When it feels dry, give it some water and you're good. And if you want it to grow longer, you can even snip a few leaves, pop them in water, and they'll start rooting. So if you want a plant that'll grow with you, Pothos is definitely a go-to. Next, meet the Philodendron. This plant's a classic. It's easygoing, doesn't need much, and just keeps looking good. Whether you have it trailing down a shelf, sitting on a table, or hanging, it's pretty much happy wherever you put it. Plus, those heart-shaped leaves, they just add a nice touch to any space. Philodendrons don't ask for much. Just a little water when the top inch of soil's dry, maybe once a week, and they're cool with low to medium light, so they're perfect for rooms that don't get a ton of sun. You don't have to be a plant expert to keep this one alive, trust me. This right here is the rubber plant, and it's a real beauty. Those big, glossy leaves make it look kind of fancy, but don't let that fool you. It's actually super low maintenance. You give it a little light, some water, and it'll just keep on growing. Plus, it's a great way to bring in some height if you want to fill out a corner. One quick tip with rubber plants. These leaves can get a little dusty, so just give them a quick wipe every now and then to keep them shiny and healthy. As for water, let the top couple of inches of soil dry out before you water it again. Usually about once a week, depending on the season. Easy care, but it really makes a statement in any room. Next up, the Chinese Evergreen. This plant is awesome if you're looking to add a little color without a lot of work. Just look at those leaves. Some are deep green, others have this pop of pink or silver. It's an easy one to care for, and it looks pretty sharp as a centerpiece on the table, or really anywhere you want a splash of color. Chinese evergreens are perfect for beginners because they can handle low light, so they're great for spots where other plants might struggle. Just avoid direct sunlight. It can scorch those leaves. Water it when the top inch of soil is dry and you're set. This plant's pretty forgiving, so even if you miss a watering here or there, it'll still look great. Alright, here's the prayer plant. This one's a little showstopper, not just because of its bold, patterned leaves, but because it actually prays. At night, the leaves fold up, almost like hands in prayer. It's a really cool plant if you're looking for something with a little personality, but still super easy to take care of. Prayer plants like their soil to be a little moist, so I give mine a light watering about once a week, and that seems to keep it happy. An indirect light is all it needs. Direct sun can be a bit harsh on these leaves. It's a low-fuss plant that does well in spots with a little lower light, which makes it perfect for, say, a living room corner. Here we've got a Crassula, or as most people know it, the Jade plant. This little guy is practically the definition of easygoing. It's a succulent, so it doesn't need much water, and it can handle some neglect. Plus, they say it brings good luck and prosperity, so hey, why not give it a shot, right? One thing to know about Crassulas. They store water in these thick leaves, so you only need to water it once the soil's completely dry, usually every couple of weeks. And it loves bright light, so a spot by the kitchen window like this is perfect. Just keep it simple, and this plant will thrive without much effort from you. Next up, we've got the Begonia. Look at those leaves. Some of them are even more colorful than flowers. Begonias add a really cool, vibrant touch to any room, and they're actually super easy to care for. Just a little bit of light and a bit of water, and you're good to go. Begonias like to stay a little on the damp side, so I just water it when the top of the soil feels dry. Usually once a week does the trick, and bright, indirect light is perfect for these guys. They can be a little sensitive to direct sunlight, so a spot like this, where they get some light but not too much, is ideal. It's low maintenance but looks super fancy. Check out this little beauty, the nerve plant. Those veins in the leaves? Totally unique, and make it stand out in any room. It's perfect if you're looking to add a little color and character to your space. And while it looks kind of delicate, trust me, it's still easy to care for. So, the key with the nerve plant is to keep the soil consistently moist. Not too wet, but not too dry either. I like to mist it a bit to help with humidity, since it loves that. And just make sure you're not letting water sit in the saucer, or it'll get a little too soggy. Other than that, bright, indirect light, and this little guy will thrive. Here's a Peperomia, super cute and super easy. These guys have a lot of personality, with their thick, textured leaves that come in all sorts of patterns and colors. They're perfect for a smaller space, like a desk or a side table, and they don't take up a lot of room. Peperomias don't like to be overwatered, so I usually wait until the top inch of soil is dry before watering. And they're good with low to medium light, so you can keep them pretty much anywhere, just not in direct sun for too long. Honestly, they're pretty low maintenance, and make a great addition to your indoor plant collection. Okay, next up is the drop-tongue plant, or sometimes called the cylindrical snake plant. You can see how its long, stiff leaves grow straight up. Kind of like a sculpture, right? It's a great plant if you're looking for something that's low maintenance, but still looks pretty striking. This one's super easy to care for. It's a succulent, so it doesn't need a ton of water, maybe once every 2 weeks or so. Just let the soil dry out completely before you water it again. And it can thrive in pretty much any light conditions, from bright to low light. Honestly, you pretty much just forget about it, and it still looks awesome. Here we have the Arrowhead Plant. This one's pretty awesome because it grows fast and has those cool arrow-shaped leaves. It's perfect for adding a little greenery to your space, and it's super forgiving. I've had mine for a while now, and it's thriving with hardly any effort. The Arrowhead Plant's pretty low maintenance. It likes its soil to be a little moist, so I just water it when the top inch of soil feels dry, maybe once a week or so. It also loves bright, indirect light, but can tolerate lower light too. And if it gets too long or leggy, just trim it back, and it'll keep growing nice and full. Seriously, this plant's all about easy care and fast growth. Here's the Purple Tradescantia. Look at that color. The purple and green leaves really stand out, and it's a super easy plant to take care of. This one's great if you're just getting into plants, but still want something that looks a little unique and eye-catching. Tradescantias are pretty forgiving when it comes to light. It can handle low light, but really thrives with some bright, indirect light. Water it when the soil's dry, and it'll keep growing nice and full. I'd say once a week for watering is about right. Honestly, this one's a no-fuss, high-reward plant. Last but not least, the Dracaena. I love this plant because it's got that sleek, modern look, and it's a breeze to take care of. It's got these tall, spiky leaves that just add a nice, architectural touch to your space. Plus, it's super tough, so you don't need to worry about it too much. Dracaenas are pretty low maintenance. They like a little bit of bright, indirect light, but they'll do fine in lower light too. Just let the top of the soil dry out before watering again, about once a week usually. Don't overwater though. These plants are tough, but they don't want to sit in soggy soil. So water it when it's dry and it'll thrive. So there you have it, 15 easy indoor plants that even beginners can keep alive and thriving. Whether you've got a green thumb or are just getting started, these plants will make your space feel fresh and vibrant without all the fuss. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button if you found this helpful. Happy planting, and I'll catch you in the next one.